It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Wednesday morning. It is the Ides of January, which doesn't really have quite the same ring as the Ides of March. But you know what? We'll try to make it, Caesar-esque as much as we can. Hell, why not? It's January 15th. We're halfway through the first month of the year. Go figure. I'm looking for any sort of hat to hang my hat on, as they say. So I'm very happy to be here on a Wednesday morning. Genesis, Misunderstanding, which I was thinking as the song was playing, all the Genesis fans that were like, yeah, I'll tell you the misunderstanding is, why is this on Top 40 radio? It's supposed to be Genesis, man.
Yeah.
I love music fans. I love that I used to be one of those idiots who would be like, why does everyone like my favorite band all of a sudden?
I don't know. I still have a grudge against that song because my senior year, was it my junior year? Who cares? We have a homecoming song. Every year you have a homecoming song, and that was voted my homecoming song one year.
What? Misunderstanding?
Yeah, the girls wanted Babe from Styx. We were like, absolutely not. I think we were going for Dirty Deeds or something from Back in Black, probably.
Sure. Yeah,
if I'm thinking of the time or whatever. Maybe it was Squealer. I don't know what it was, but anyway, the teacher compromised with Misunderstanding, and we just all sat there like, high school sucks, man. Every time I hear that song, I just think, high school sucks.
If the prom theme is Misunderstanding, it seems to me like that's just a night of date swapping.
Yeah.
Like everybody should leave with a different person.
That was my prom.
If that's the theme, my God.
Yeah.
Someone sent me a photo of myself at a Sadie Hawkins dance recently from, I believe I was in 10th grade. And the theme, the photo of me and my date, and the theme in big letters on the board, like the construction paper artistically thing, the backdrop. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Keep on Loving You by REO Speedwagon. And I was like, oh,
well, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, but it reminded me of the voting for what's the theme of this dance. Man, that would be like student council meetings would be. You'd have to get out a fire extinguisher to separate the fighting. And yeah. Misunderstanding. That's fantastic. All right, let's get on to the top 5 at 6 as long as we're here. Here's 5 stories that jumped off the page to us anyway. Listen, you fat-tongued devil, get some better sleep, why don't you? Researchers are saying if you're suffering from sleep apnea, it might be the fat in your tongue.
Oh, well, now you tell me. I just had to do some tongue exercises instead of strapping a mask to my face all night long with a hose to whatever the hell, refrigerator.
I was going to go right to the source. You've had sleep apnea. You were talking about this a couple years ago. You have it.
Yeah.
So, but you've got a very lean, agile, you've got a 6-pack ab tongue from what I can see.
Thanks for noticing. Lots of tongue exercises.
Good for you.
Apparently, larger and fattier tongues are more common among people who have weight difficulties. That's not Brian Zepp. You're a lean, mean fighting machine.
Sure.
But apparently, there are fat deposits in certain people's tongues. And when I read this, my first thought, I do have a good friend with sleep apnea, and he does have. I've noticed. I was like, man, that guy's got a thick tongue. I can't wait to call him later today and go, yo, I got some news for you, brother. You need to get that tongue workout going on. There is nothing to do for a fat tongue other than just generally lose weight. There are not tongue exercises. I'm not going to suggest tongue lipo, whatever you call
tongue lipo, man. Yeah,
man. But apparently that's a real. You can take a look at your tongue, and if it just seems like it's got a little extra, if you can pinch an inch you're probably not sleeping as well as you should. Lose weight, sleep on your side, give up smoking, and very important, don't drink a lot of alcohol before bed. Half the people just changed the station. So anyway, listen, check out your tongue. I've had a thing in the past. This is years ago, but one day I was like, my tongue felt weird, and I stood in front of the mirror and I stuck it out, and it had like ridges on the sides of my tongue, like little indentations.
Oh, I've got those.
And it's called scalloped tongue, is what they call it.
Oh, scalloped tongue.
And I Googled it.
Sounds cheesy. Yeah.
I Googled it, and I got like 11 different reasons for why that was happening. And I thought, you know what? I probably just need to drink a lot more water. And then it went away. So I just healed myself somehow.
Quit Googling.
That's exactly right. Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Minnesota courthouses are offering free weddings on Valentine's Day. 10 district courts across the state, that includes Hennepin County, free Valentine's Day weddings. Now, you do need a marriage license, and you need to book an appointment because a lot of people are going to take advantage of this, but the wedding will be on the house. If you're getting married on Valentine's Day, spur of the moment type of thing, because it's free, good luck to you.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fathers of brides out there going, hey, honey.
Yeah, right.
Have you heard about the free weddings? Doesn't it sound romantic, a free wedding down at the courthouse? Come on.
You know, Jerry's not so bad now that I think about it. If you kids are thinking about tying the knot, yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah. I was talking last night, having dinner, and a conversation popped up. Marley, our daughter, she's getting ready to head back to school, and she said something about her boyfriend, and suddenly the whole idea of marriage. She's not thinking of being married, but we just discussed it, and she was just like, "Yeah, I don't know how I missed this, Dad, but like, so you pay for my wedding?" And I was like, "Hang on,
that's terribly old-fashioned. You don't have to do that anymore."
What is this? The 1940s? What are you talking about? Get a job.
Well, remember, before that, it was a dowry. I think, didn't we get money for a daughter? I think they had to pay us some goats or some crap like that.
A head of cattle, at least. Yeah.
How'd that flip? Let's flip it back.
Can I get a couple of heifers and some barley for this arrangement? Come on, at the very least.
I got beef and beer, is what I heard.
It's damn straight. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. There's a guy on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. He's all across social media. His name is Spencer. He's got a company called SB Mowing. He is a lawn care maintenance dude. He's based in Kansas. And for years, he's been posting videos. He just goes around, finds a house where the grass is overgrown, the shrubs are out of hand. He knocks on the door and says, "Hey, do you want me to clean up your yard for you? I'll do it for free." And he posts these videos. I've been following him for years. I follow several people on Instagram that do this.
You're a lawn guy. You've talked about this. You're into this. All
There's
right.
a guy in Australia. There's this guy. There's a hedge company. All the videos are just them trimming hedges. And it's like Zen. It's like I just watch them like, oh, that looks amazing.
Whatever gets you through the night.
Hey man, I have an addled mind. But this guy Spencer in Kansas, he knocked on a door. An elderly woman came out and she said, the city is going to charge me $240 if I can't get my grass cut, but I don't have any money to pay anybody. And he goes, well, I'm here to do this. Let me help you out. He cleans up her lawn. He gets her driveway all cleared away so now she can park again. The grass had overgrown so much. I saw this video like a week ago. I was like, just because it popped up on my feed.
Yeah.
Well, now he talked about this woman who's just living alone and has very little help. And then he just said to his followers, he's like, hey, I'm going to set up a GoFundMe for her to help out, see if we can get her back on her feet. He then went back to tell her a few days later how much money he had raised for her. I believe we have a little audio of him explaining to her exactly what he cooked up.
In about 24 hours, over 21,000 people have donated to it. We're going to be able to do a little bit more than just your driveway and your ramp here. You ready to hear how much?
Yeah.
All right, we raised $550,000.
Whoa!
Since yesterday.
I can't even cry. I can't even think. Oh my God.
Wow, over $500,000. I need to make up an elderly disabled woman in my life, I think. Well, no, that's fantastic. That inspired me, Steve, to start a TikTok account. I've been waiting and just sort of plodding along and not, I was like, I'm not new on the social media stuff. But yeah, doggone it. I'm opening a TikTok account today.
Okay.
Get on it, man.
I'm excited.
And then put on I was thinking about this. Like, there's a lot of people who have got overgrown yards right now who are like, hold on, how do I get on this guy's radar? But $550,000 for her. That's a really nice story. But ultimately, it all comes back to me, and I still have to wonder, why do I like watching videos of people cut grass so much? What the hell's wrong with me? It did sound like she had just had a balloon of nitrous. I'm just going to mention that. First thing I thought.
You get a lot of nitrous out of that.
It was a lovely gesture, and if you want to spend a little time in my head, just watch people cut grass and feel better about the world. Number two on your top 5 at 6, Brad Pitt. What's he up to? Another romance scam. He can't stop taking money online from women, or at least someone pretending to be Brad Pitt. This is a true story. A 53-year-old French woman has fallen victim to an online romance scam. She posted some photos of herself during a ski holiday in 2023. She was contacted online. Someone slid into her DMs. Who was it? Someone pretending to be not Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt's mother.
That's a good twist.
Because when you are a 60-year-old Hollywood legendary actor / producer worth hundreds of millions of dollars, your mom helps you find women online, apparently, is what Anne, the French woman, believed. So this woman slid into her DM, said, I'm Brad Pitt's mother. I want to introduce you to my son. You are his type. They start a conversation online, daily messages, poems, AI-generated photos and videos where she thinks Brad Pitt is declaring his love for her. He ended up proposing. This woman divorced her husband. He had to pay her €775,000, which is about $850,000. She sent it all to, in quotes, Brad Pitt.
Well, I mean, it's how many times did they get together? Like 3 or 4 times, probably. Just to make that personal connection.
No, not once. Never
obviously,
once.
you wouldn't give $1. Jeez.
Never once.
I'm glad. I'm happy for her. That was only ever going to turn out one way in her life.
That's right.
Poorly. She's an idiot.
Do you know what tipped her off that maybe it was a scam? She saw a photo of Brad Pitt out at an event with his girlfriend and went, well, hang on, wait a minute. I thought we were getting married. This says this has all affected her mental health. She's been hospitalized for severe depression. This did not affect your mental health. This just exposed your mental health.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. That's exactly what that is. You know what? Mental health, you do have mental health difficulties when you are an idiot. That's a good point. Yeah. I'm sorry, Brad Pitt's not coming into your DMs through his mom.
Yeah, you sent him about $1 million and didn't meet him. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, you can send me a hell of a lot less money than that to not meet me. I'm no Brad Pitt.
I will say this. If I get a DM today from someone claiming to be Julia Roberts, I will take a look at it. I'm just saying. I'm not going to believe it, but I'm going to check it out. St. Anthony, good morning. How about our listeners in St. Anthony? We're happy to have you with us.
Talking about the patron saint of lost items. Isn't he I don't know, I was raised by a Catholic mother. I wasn't raised Catholic. Something about, I just remember St. Anthony was she was big on the saint things. I still have some saint things around my house. My bookmarker is a St. Michael thing that she gave me, but St. Anthony, the patron saint of lost keys or something.
Many things, lost items. He's the patron saint of travelers as well as the poor. So there you have it.
That explains the St. Anthony neighborhood, the patron saint of lost neighborhoods. Where is that?
Number 1 on your top 5 at 6. We finally have an answer. Science has determined the most influential band of all time. Is it the Beatles or the Stones?
Oh, God.
An indie rocker named Chris Dallariva decided to investigate. He went to Wikipedia's list of 479 mainstream rock performers to see which artists they listed as influences. The Beatles, no surprise, came in first place. Led Zeppelin, actually, the second most influential band. Those both check out to me. But the fact that a guy is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Wikipedia and I'm going to look at almost 500 band pages and see who they say are their influences, because Wikipedia is the most reputable source of information on the world. I'm not surprised to see the Beatles at number 1. I am surprised to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers at number 10. But I've never seen anybody say, well, we put the band together and we all love the Chili Peppers. Nothing against them. I've never read that article.
Right. So she gave her money to Brad Pitt.
That's exactly right.
But it wasn't really him.
Wasn't him at all. It was Anthony Kiedis. Weird. So weird. There's your top 5 at 9. Hey, we got a mixtape to throw together this week. How about this? We all remember the Casey Kasem long distance dedication, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dear Casey, my uncle disappeared over Quezon in 1968. You'd hear the long distance dedication. How about this? Let's offer up some Vendetta dedications. How about you want to hear a song to get revenge on somebody? Somebody spurned you, somebody pissed you off, and you want to send a song to them? I want to hear what song you want to hear, and I want to hear what the Vendetta is based on. Vendetta dedications. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
as it's Wednesday, we're going to throw together a little midweek mixtape. That's how we like to roll around here. Today, we're gonna introduce something we call Vendetta Dedications. I like this. I mean, I was always a Casey Kasem fan growing up. Every Sunday night, I would listen to all 3 hours of American Top 40.
Yeah.
7 to 10 p.m., man. It was a big deal. And I would sit there and wait for that long-distance dedication. Mm-hmm. Dear Casey, we lost our dog, Scruffy. Would you, he jumped on a Greyhound bus accidentally and he never returned. And then somebody would send a song out to somebody. Well, how about a Vendetta dedication? Let's just get revenge. My girlfriend left me for a carny, a greasy-haired meth dealer from Dubuque. Would you play Send in the Clowns for Anne Marie? I mean, I wanted to hear those kind of dedications myself. So we want to hear what songs you want to send out. Who do you need payback on? And we've already got a few great ones. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. The first one I saw, here it comes in. A coworker and I were best friends for 2 years. Then when I got engaged, he became distant. When I got married, he had left the job. He ghosted me. Would you play You're So Vain? Yeah, we will. Yeah, there you go. You're so vain. Yeah, a coworker, douchebag. And then another one, Everything About You from Ugly Kid Joe. Cheating ex-wife is the follow-up. Yeah, we get it. Got it. Done. The Facebook post is up as well. Already some coming in there. I like this one from Kevin on Facebook. Turn out the lights. The party's over. That one's dedicated to the Packers and Vikings. Wow. Fair enough. Must be a Lions fan.
Yeah.
Ryder, is that you actually?
The
on that
bandwagon
one?
is nice and warm.
Man, that's right. I think, boy, you got the bandwagon team for the rest of the country.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's like, oh man, Detroit, they need some good news over there. Let's jump on board. Any vendettas left unresolved in your life, Zepp? Anybody out there you want to?
I mean, probably toward me, but no, I don't.
Okay, good.
I don't care about anyone enough to want to kill them.
If anybody's got a song,
that's what a vendetta is.
If anybody's got a vendetta dedication to Brian Zepp, or myself, or Ryder for that matter, hey man, let us know. And I apologize in advance for whatever we've done to kick you in the shins.
But I'll do it again. I always do. I don't know. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. That's the ultimate vendetta song, isn't it?
I think it is. It should be, yeah. We've got plenty more coming in, and we will get to those. But, of course, we also have other business to tend to today. On this day, January 15th, 1892, Dr. James Naismith in Springfield, Massachusetts, published the rules for his new sport that he called basketball. The first game was played with a soccer ball, and peach baskets were nailed to the wall at either end of the gym. About a year later, it occurred to him, it's kind of a pain in the ass that somebody has to climb up on a ladder and take the ball out of the basket every time. So he came up with a metal rim that would allow the ball to fall through after every basket scored. Thanks, James Naismith, for inventing one of the great games of all time. On this day in 1997, in Minneapolis, at the Target Center, downtown, the Chicago Bulls playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. A regular season game, the Bulls in the midst of that second three-peat. Dennis Rodman, going after a loose ball, tripped over the legs of Target Center in-house cameraman Eugene Amos. Rodman ended up laying on the floor next to him, thinking he had sprained his ankle, and so he did what anybody would do. He kicked the cameraman really hard right in the groin.
Oh, not the anus.
No, right in the groin. Right in the groin. Rodman was actually fine. Cameraman Eugene Amos had to be carted off the floor.
Well, that looks good for the lawyers.
It certainly does. Afterwards, that made the SportsCenter highlights like 16 times an hour for the next week. Back when stories had legs, you know what I mean? Like that story would be over by midnight now. But in 1997, it was a solid week of, can you believe Rodman kicked that cameraman? An 11-game suspension, which cost him over $1 million. $25,000 fine, and then on top of it, Rodman settled with the cameraman out of court, paying him $200,000.
Well, that seems cheap, doesn't it?
It certainly does. He apologized. He would not apologize in person. He said, I'll call the guy. And as it turned out, he had Brad Pitt call for him because, Pitt has always been an internet scammer, that bastard.
Yeah, would have got his 200,000 back.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Good morning. It is the middle of the month of January. It's the middle of this week. We're putting together a midweek mixtape throughout the day. Today, we're looking for Vendetta Dedications. You got a vendetta? You want to send somebody a song to explain to them just how much they hurt you? You want to get a little payback? Let us know what that song is. Let us know the story if you're so bold. You can call or text 651-989-ROCK. You can go to the Facebook page if you want to post something there. We've got a lot of texts. We've got a lot of Facebook posts. We'll share some with you as the day goes on. You're always welcome, as I said, to call 651-989-ROCK.
Yeah, and and don't hesitate to go ahead and Google the word vendetta. Just looking at some of these entries, I'm not being critical. Hey, I had to Google the damn thing. I was like, I know what that is, right? And then you Google it and go, yeah, it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
It just sounds good. Vendetta Dedication.
Yeah. Not bandana, Lisa. All right, come on now. A lot of love here. A kid because I love.
Bandana Dedication. That'll be next week. We'll work on that. Give us some time. If you're gonna go into a life of crime, you really got to watch yourself. You can't leave behind clues. You got to be. It's all about details, man. Attention to detail.
Yeah.
Remember, the most successful criminals of all time. You've never heard of them because they never get caught. Right? Yeah, they take it easy. They plan ahead. Pretend you're in a movie. What would the guy in the movie do? I tell you what he wouldn't do. He wouldn't leave behind a bunch of shoe prints all over a crime scene. And then he definitely wouldn't leave behind a bunch of shoe prints with dog poo. But that's exactly what happened in Carlisle, a town in England. Yeah. A 20-year-old kid named Brian Harold was targeting residential areas in the town of Carlisle under cover of darkness. He was basically a cat burglar. He was breaking into homes and stealing stuff and blasting out. A few months ago, a couple woke up and they found an open door, and they noticed that underneath the windowsill there was a garden chair there. And as they're looking at the scene and going, oh my God, someone broke in, I wonder if they took anything, they noticed a pretty strong odor of what smelled like dog crap. And they were like, wow, that's really weird. And then they noticed on the windowsill there was a footprint just right there, bang, of dog feces. Like somebody just stepped in a giant mess of dog poo and then just kept on going and left a footprint. Police were able to examine this footprint. They located a suspect, and it matched his shoe. The dog. This is like Encyclopedia Brown, the case of the dog poo footprint. I would have loved that Encyclopedia Brown story when I was a kid. This was in the middle of a crime spree. This kid and another guy were in the midst of a lot of home break-ins. It's all about the dog poo at the end of the day. You gotta check your shoes, guys. You gotta do that. In fact, take your shoes off when committing crimes.
Yeah.
Just go with socked feet. Much harder to detect.
This is why when I'm babysitting Fry, the Australian Shepherd psychopathic dog, any craps in the living room before I go to bed, I clean it up in the morning for this very reason. I figure, well, he laid it down at night just in case we get burgled. I'll clean it up in the morning. You hear about these all the time. I love it, especially when these kind of crimes occur in the Midwest in the winter. And the cops just follow the footprints in the snow for about 6 blocks back to the guy's house. But my favorite had to be, and I don't know where this was at, I'd have to Google it. Years ago, we talked about the story, but the guys that knock over the convenience store and take a bag of chips on their way out. And the cops followed the chip crumbs. These guys just ate the chips on the way home and kept dropping chips, as you do, along the way. And they just followed the chips 2 blocks away, right to the door, rang the doorbell, and busted them.
Yeah, I have a brother who lives in upstate New York, right on the opposite side of one of the Great Lakes, and they get lake effect snow up there where he lives, Watertown.
Oh, yeah.
They'll get 40 inches at a time. It's crazy. And he moved up there like 30 years ago, and first winter in town, a neighbor, like the next door or right across the street, they'd met this family, gotten to know them, and then their kid, who was like in high school, got popped for robbing a liquor store, convenience store, some sort of crime. He went in and he was arrested. and he committed this crime and got away on a snowmobile.
Okay.
And there was a storm forecast for that night in the morning, and he assumed, the snow will just cover the tracks I leave. Well, the snow didn't happen. But by the time the cops got there, it wasn't snowing yet, and they were like, well, there's some snowmobile tracks right there. And they just followed them to the kid's house, and there's the snowmobile. And Bob was like, yeah, that was our introduction to upstate snow country. Like, kid, not only do people make robberies on snowmobiles, some of them are really stupid.
Yeah,
I always remember thinking, that's how I would have done that. I got busted in high school, middle school, I think. There was a note being passed around the school where we were all the boys in this one class, and we were ranking all the girls and writing remarks, of course. Very, very inappropriate remarks about all the women in our school, the girls in our school. And everybody was like, there was somebody said, like, well, don't sign anything, don't write anything in your own handwriting, like, right, left-handed. Like, there was this thing, well, we don't want to get caught, and we want to be able to, we want to have plausible deniability, like, basically. And I wrote, because I thought it would be funny to write on there, because no one's going to catch this note. I wrote, I, Stephen Andrew Gorman, do declare that I would love nothing more than to blah, 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 blah. And everybody laughed and laughed and laughed. And then, of course, our physics teacher, Mr. Henson, came over and goes, let me see that note. And I was like, that was really dumb. It was good for a laugh, but not only did I write that, I wrote it in my own handwriting. Like, hey, just in case you're wondering, that was me. That was me.
Yeah, cocky will get you caught often, too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Cocky.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then I looked down and I was sitting there. I was like, I didn't notice I had dog crap all over my shoes. Wow, that's weird. So I got
right back to your desk.
I got in trouble for both. It was just one of those things. Again, attention to detail, young criminals out there. Mastermind, you got to fly under the radar. Just, it's real simple. Also, one time, my brother Doug and I got busted for, my mom had gone out and picked a ton of blueberries or bought blueberries. She was going to make something. And we had the extra fridge freezer in the basement as well, because she bought so much in bulk for such a huge family. Yeah. And we were in the basement one day, and we found just a giant thing of blueberries. We were like, oh my God, blueberries. And we just stuff our face with blueberries. And we're like, oh man, this is great. And there was like several containers, and we ate one entire container. And then we're like, well, we'll just throw this away, and she'll forget that she bought 4. She'll think she just bought 3, because we're geniuses. And as we're finishing this off and we get the container hidden, we didn't throw it in a trash can. We like stuck it under something in the basement, knowing it would never be found. My dad yelled down, guys, time for bed. And we just ran straight upstairs to say goodnight. And we walk in, good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. And my dad's like, good night, guys. Hey, quick question. You guys didn't get any of those blueberries in there, did you? And my brother and I just froze, and we're like, oh my God, he truly is clairvoyant. I mean, this bastard, he is such an evil. How did he know? And I'm like, well, no, I don't think so. Blueberries. And my brother's like, I don't know anything about blueberries. And then Doug and I look at each other. Our faces are blue.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We just have blue tongues, blue lips, blue cheeks, both of us. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Wash your face first.
Brush your teeth, clean your tongue, the whole deal. Well, you live and you learn.
Stayed away from the downstairs fridge for quite a while after that one. These things, live and learn, and then just learn. And what we learned in our family is we learned how not to get caught. We never learned right from wrong. We just learned how to be better at things.
Oh, yeah. That's a life skill as well. I remember going through that with my ex, the mother of my children, Stacy, talking about, well, they can't do, I know they're getting away with it, and but I just can't catch them. And I said, well, that's a life skill too. You know what? If you're the kid, I was never that kid. I was the kid that never got away with it. If you're the kid that gets away with it, that's a life skill. That'll take you further on down the road. Very, very far. Hey, if you ever head down to IKEA, a lot of people love to go to IKEA for, they got those nice Swedish meatballs. I was at the IKEA in Bloomington probably 6 weeks ago and I ate lunch there. I got the meatball plate. I just was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to take advantage of it. It was great. I forgot, however, to buy the anti-tank mines that they're selling at certain locations. Ooh. Oh, that's right. IKEA anti-tank mines. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Glad to have you with us, especially if you're listening from Rogers, Minnesota. Good morning, Rogers.
Rockin' Rogers. I think they have a big parade up there, I think. I don't know. You know, I've traveled around as a younger man on the radio doing all these small town, but I think Rockin' Rogers, isn't that a thing, Ryder?
Rockin' Rogers. The big party is scheduled for June 19th through the 21st.
Hey!
Wow. Game
I'll be on it. Yeah, Rockin' Rogers.
Right on. Well, if you're listening in Rogers, we're happy to have you with us. We're thinking of you up there in Rogers. Good morning. We're discussing a minute ago, we're talking about the dumbest way people have gotten busted. There was a cat burglar who left behind some footprints, dog poo footprints. It was easy to match his shoes. Police came in, they take an imprint of the shoe print left behind, and then they match his shoe. And if he hadn't stepped in a bunch of dog crap, he probably wouldn't have been caught. Really dumb way you got busted. Have you ever been busted for anything? Felony, misdemeanor, personal transgression, anything. We're talking about dumbest ways you got busted. If you've got a story for us, 651-989-ROCK. Feel free to call. Feel free to text. Let us know. Or, of course, if you busted someone else for doing something really stupid. And I don't mean like your little kids. We've all busted our kids. They think that you can't hear them. They think you're the. I mean, it's that's just old part and parcel.
That's just fun parenting there. Yeah,
that's exactly right. We were out, a bunch of us when I was probably in middle school. I was out with a few high school kids. And one of the guys in the group said, "Hey man, I think it was like a Honda Civic. There was some brand of car." And he goes, "You can rip the side view mirrors off real easily, like on the side right by the driver's door." And he walked up to one and he put his hands on it and he just screwed it and pulled it off, and the thing popped right off. It's like he just somehow knew the perfect way. You could just rip off a rear view mirror, and we were like, "Oh my God!" And then we walked around for a while. And we came up to another model of that car, and there was a kid named Lindsay, and we're all like, "Lindsay, go do it." He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." And he ran over, and he's grabbing and he tries to, he puts his hands on it, and he twists and pulls, and nothing happens. And then he twists and pulls, and nothing happens. He's not doing it quite right. And as he's going for the third effort, the driver's window just comes down. There's a guy sitting in his car at night out in front of a house, and he's watching like an 8th grade kid try to jerk his mirror off the car. And that window came down, and that kid screamed. I mean, it was like, he went up like 4 octaves, like, "Ah!" Yeah. And we ran. That was good stuff.
Yeah, that is good. While we're in middle school, Jeff Hamilton, we found out that the teacher has a book with all the answers in it. We became aware of that, I think, in 7th grade. It was like, what? The teacher? Yeah, the teacher's book, and all the answers for all the quizzes are in that book. So Jeff Hamilton says, "I'm going to get that book because I know how to pick his desk with a paper clip." My dad showed me how to pick a lock at home with a paper clip. So I don't know, got locked in the bathroom or something. And so he goes up and asks Mr. Lear for a paper clip. We didn't have paper clips back then. Paper clips just weren't laying around. The teachers had them. So he goes, "Okay," and he gives Jeff a paper clip. And then at recess, we sneak back into the room. Jeff unlocks it, sure enough, with a paper clip, opens the desk drawer, takes the book, the teacher's book, and puts it in his desk. And he left the paper clip in the lock. And so Mr. Lear came back from recess, sees the paper clip sticking in his desk drawer, opens up the desk drawer, sees that the book is gone, and says, "Jeff, why did you need a paper clip?" No reason. "Would you open up your desk?" And he opened up his desk, and there was the teacher's book, busted.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably hadn't had a lot of paper clip requests that week.
No reason to need a paper clip in 7th grade.
Just one. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line. I believe we have George on the horn. George, good morning.
Good morning.
George, give me your favorite band.
Leonard Skinner.
Favorite team, any sport?
Minnesota Twins.
Right on. Skinner and the Twins. What do you got for us, brother?
So you guys were talking about footprints in the snow stories. I had a brother. I had 3 brothers. A couple of them are long since gone. One of them's name was Steven, actually, and it was about 1972. It was winter, probably about this time of year. He was hanging out down in Crystal. I grew up in Crystal and New Hope, and he was down at the Crystal Pool Hall where a lot of young kids used to hang out on Saturday nights. And he was getting drunk with his buddies, and he ended up breaking into Crystal Linoleum and Tile, busted a plate glass window out.
God.
Ended up gashing his arm going through the window.
Ooh.
Anyway, he realized that there was no money in the till, and he thought he better get the heck out of there. So he got kind of ditched by his buddies, too. So he ended up coming out of that store and leaving a trail of blood and footprints for about 7 or 8 blocks. We lived in New Hope, right by the Crystal border. And I heard a rustling at the back door, and it was him trying to get in the back door. And I looked out the door and saw him, and I let him in. And then I went, oh, my God, look at this guy. And he was bleeding like a stuck pig. And my stepmom was in the bathroom getting ready to go to bed. And she's like, what the heck's going on? And he was already downstairs trying to clean himself up in the wash tubs. And so she went down there to help him because she saw the trail of blood going downstairs. And about 2-3 minutes later, there's a little bit of knocking at the back door.
Oh, yeah.
And I go upstairs, and there's about 10 Crystal police officers at the back door. And they came right in the back door. And my poor stepmom, she didn't know what to do. But anyway, yeah, they arrested him. He was 17 years old and dragged him down to the police department. And my dad was a Greyhound bus driver, so he wasn't around. He was working, and anyway, he was out of the house about 6 months later. He had a inkling to do stupid stuff like that, so he was out of trouble.
Par for the course.
Classic story: snow, footprints in the snow, and also a trail of blood going through.
Yeah. The bloody snow prints. That's a dead giveaway. Hey, George, thanks for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome. Take care. Love you guys.
Thank you very much. That's
Thanks,
a reminder. I have an older brother. I have 5 older brothers. My brother Tom. A Friday night, I'm 6 or 7, and 8:30, 9 p.m. And he comes into the house as he does, kind of gives a nod into the TV room, hey, and then goes up to his room. He's a high school senior, maybe 17 or 18, and goes to his room. And about 30 minutes after he got home, there's a knock at the door. My dad goes to the door. It's like, who's coming to the house at 9:30? And it was a sheriff's department, a deputy from where we lived. And he says, yeah, is there a Tom Gorman here? And my dad's like, sure. Calls him down, Tom. And my brother comes down from his bedroom. And sheriff says, hey, were you over at were you up on the golf course today? And Tom's like, I don't play golf. And he goes, I didn't ask if you play golf, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Tom and some friends decided, hey, let's go to the country club. We were not members, but we lived right near the course. Let's go to the country club, and let's break into the golf cart shack, and let's go joyriding on some golf carts once it gets dark. So that's what they did. Somebody found out about it, called the police. The police showed up on the golf course. They ditched the golf carts in the pond on the 3rd hole. They just drove the carts right into the water, jumped out, ran through the woods, ran home. The police pulled one of the golf carts. It didn't go underwater. It was just right there at the edge. They pulled the golf cart out, and they look down, and they go, hey, is that a wallet in the front seat?
No.
Tom Gorman, 70 St. Andrews Road. There it was. And they just, quarter mile away, they show up at the house. And so they're like, yeah, we found your license. And Tom's like, oh, my God, yeah, we did it. And my dad, as being my dad, looks at my brother. The cops are taking him to jail. It's Friday night, and my dad says, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
You're going to spend the night. And he says that in front of Tom's 3 youngest brothers. We're standing there in our jammies already. Note to self, don't get arrested. Dad will not bail you out until the next day. It was like,
that's a dad thing.
Pretty hard, firm lesson to learn. And Tom went away. And then the next morning, my dad went and picked him up. The thing my brother failed to mention was that he had dropped a hit of acid.
Oh.
So not only did he spend the night in a jail cell, he spent the night in jail tripping balls.
Oh, that makes it a lot more interesting.
The
Yeah.
70s were a lot of fun, weren't they? Well, for some of us, some more than others. Holy smokes, that's good stuff. We'll keep rolling with this topic. I've got a couple of great. I can't believe this guy got busted for that. One is an Army general, one's a cop. I mean, come on. What's better than generals and cops getting busted doing stupid stuff? Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
It's January the 15th. We're halfway through the first month of 2025 somehow. And today on the show, if you're just joining us, we've been having a good time. We've been talking about getting busted, the stupid ways that so many of us have gotten busted in the past. If you've got a story you want to share, feel free to give us a buzz, 651-989-ROCK. If you'd rather just send a text, it's the same number, 651-989-7625. Here's a classic. We got a bunch of these. John texted, a neighbor of mine when he was in high school robbed the Hardee's in town. Zep, you're a Hardee's fan.
Yeah, hey, back off, man. That's what Burger Kings are for.
That's exactly right. Leave my Hardee's out of it. Leave my breakfast, what is it, the Frisco sandwich or something you're a fan of?
Frisco breakfast sandwich, yeah.
Yeah, leave that out of this.
Yeah.
A neighbor of mine when he was in high school robbed the Hardee's in town, which he worked at. Of course he did. Walked from the scene of the crime to his house in the snow. So all they had to do was follow the footprints right to his door. Yeah, it's tough. First things first, never commit crimes in winter. Always wait for the summer. Just so much better to do it that way. So much safer. That's a classic one. Another one, let's see, back in my Marine Corps days, this is another text that came in. Visiting Tijuana, well, okay, we know where this is going. Had some fun with my buddies, had a few too many drinks on the way back before we crossed the border. I jumped up and hit the stop sign. The police saw me, held me and my two buddies to the wall at gunpoint, took $85 cash. Got us out of there. Okay, wow. That's a whole different story. That's just drunk slapping stop signs, getting caught in Mexico. You're just asking for it.
Yeah,
that's just, don't draw attention to yourself as the drunk Marine in Tijuana. That's just a tip. That's a tip from your buddy Steve.
That's a solid tip, Steve. It doesn't have to be the cops. It doesn't have to necessarily be a crime. I was just texted from another friend of mine, Steve, thank you, reminding me that I was busted. He and I having lunch one day talking about breaking up. I'm like, nah, it's not going to work out, man. I'm breaking up. I had butt dialed her. That was a solid on butt dial when you used to carry your phone. It was a literal butt dial. It was in my back pocket. Yep. Anyway, I got out to my truck and I pulled my phone out of my back pocket to throw it in the side little thing there. And I looked down, and I had called her, and it was 28 minutes and 33 seconds into the call. and I just went, hello? She goes, yeah, douchebag. So that's how I broke up with her.
Oops.
And then one of my favorites was Blondie. You guys remember Blondie up at the Craigan's Resort and all the KQ get-togethers, our very own Blondie. Snuck out on one of those KQ Vegas trips one time. But she told her boss I think it was a boss, maybe it was a boyfriend, maybe it was a husband at the time, Blondie, I'm getting this wrong, but that she was not going to Vegas. She was up to something else, maybe sick or something like that. And I called her out by name. Not Blondie either. Her actual
boy.
On the air. Yeah. I think she had lost her driver's license, or she had left it somewhere, as Blondie will do. And I was there on the show going, is blah, 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 blah with us today. Blah. Again, on the air. Blah, 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 blah here in Las Vegas. So still haven't lived that one down. And still have not lost to her in leg wrestling either.
I was gonna say, if she's still trying to get you back with all the leg wrestling you guys are up to in Brainerd. It's a staple. It's a classic. It's a yearly. It's an event. I look forward to it every year. Sometime early October. It'll be round 3. I can't wait. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk text line. Ken is on the horn from Circle Pines. Ken, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Ken, give me your favorite band.
Oh, Van Halen.
Nice. Give me your favorite team. Any sport.
The football.
The football.
Football. Real football, not soccer.
Okay. All right. Just as a fan of the whole sport, I get that. All right. What's your story, Ken?
Well, me and my buddy Wayne, we were 15. We lived in Maplewood at these townhomes, Masabi townhomes, and we were 15, and we just went down every garage that was opened in these townhomes. So they were like all next to each other, every garage for every apartment. And we sat there, went through every open garage. And next thing you know, the police are banging on his mom's door that followed the snow tracks dead to his house and found everything we did. Yeah, we were young and dumb.
Snow doesn't lie, man.
Again with those snow tracks. I would think in the Great White North we would be better at recognizing the incriminating evidence we're leaving behind in the snow, but I guess not.
Nope, just young and dumb.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on, Ken. If you weren't young and dumb, then you're going to end up old and dumb, and that's no way to be. You got to get the dumb out of the way early, or else it bites you on the ass later in life.
Yeah, that was my buddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm 40, and I sit back and I actually laugh about how stupid I was.
Sure. Ken, thanks for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
You too. Keep rocking.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, making it to 40 so you can look back and laugh. If you're doing that, then you're living a decent life. I had a buddy that got busted once, and we were just pranking the house next door. This was in college, and it was in the snow, and we're like, hey, dumbass, he's going to know it was us. You walked over there in the snow, and he goes, no. I went ahead and kicked out all my tracks. I'm like, well, it's still a track, you moron.
Yeah, right.
They're just going to follow the guy that kicked out all the tracks. But
they're going to follow the thing that looks like someone dragged a big tree branch through. Whatever, it's the same thing.
He didn't graduate. Neither did I.
my brother Doug, he's 2 years older than me. He and a couple buddies, when they were in high school, they would climb. There was a tobacco plant in our town, and they would climb the water tower and spray paint stuff on this water tower. Just having a good time as you do when you're a kid. And somebody got a tip that maybe these guys were the ones constantly. The first time they ever climbed this water tower with spray paint, they put in big block letters "Fight Graffiti" on the water tower, which I just thought was genius.
Yeah.
But they'd been doing it for a while, and Doug's best friend, they had a house, and they had a little carriage house in the backyard. And so when this kid turned like 16, his parents let him move into the carriage house. So he didn't have to live in the main. Yeah. How cool is that? So he had this. And so the other thing that my brother and his friends would do is they would steal road signs, stop signs, street signs, yield signs. They were great at it. They had a couple dozen street signs in this in the little house. They called it the Hood Hut because this is the late 70s, early 80s, and you had to have the Hood Hut, and they would hang back there. And somebody tipped off one of the cops that maybe they were the ones spray painting the water tower, and so they're in there one night, like a Saturday night. And guy doesn't go to the main house. This cop walks right to the front door of the carriage house, knocks on the door. They open it, and they're like, and there's a cop standing there. And right over the shoulder, 30 street signs, several stop signs, couple of yield signs, street name. I mean, just everything. And the cop's like, hey, what are you guys up to? And they're just standing there. Looks over in the corner. There's like 9 cans of spray paint. Nothing. There's nothing. It's like, God, you got to hide. You can have the signs, but you got to at least put a blanket over them. You don't just display them in your little backyard house.
Yeah. They need one of those little holes in the door those that you look through and see it's the cops, and then shut off the lights and pretend you're not home.
Always works.
Always.
By the way, speaking of getting busted, check this out. A general in the Polish army just got popped. A pretty big screw-up. His name is Artur Kepczynski, and he, a major general in the Polish army, he was directing soldiers to unload a shipment of military supplies from a train. They took all of the stuff off the train, but left behind a shipment of anti-tank mines. Anti-tank mines.
Yeah.
Somehow never made it off the train. The train leaves the station. The general was aware of the fact that those explosives had been left behind. He didn't stop the train. He didn't call down to the next station and say, hold the train there. We're coming to get him. He ignored it and then went so far as to forge documents to say that those mines were never even part of the shipment to begin with.
That's how you deal with that.
Which means he's either covering for himself or maybe he was up to some very nefarious plans. Maybe he had something else. I think he was just trying to cover his own ass. So he thought, okay, I got away with it. I swept it under the rug. By the way, again, this is a general in the army who thinks, I guess those things will just disappear if I pretend I never saw them. The Army gets a surprising phone call. It's the manager at an IKEA. A manager at an IKEA who says, yeah, I just got a shipment of apparently some explosive devices. We don't sell those at IKEA. We have a lot of things for your house, and we've got some nice meatballs. Does anybody from the Army want to come pick these up? There was an investigation. The general has been dismissed from duty and is now facing some legal consequences. Even that, a guy in his at least in his 40s, if not older, a major general. Let me try some forgery. Forgery and denial. That's going to get me through.
Maybe he read Catch 22. We don't know. There's a Pollock joke in there somewhere. I was a combat engineer when I was in the service, and one of the things we did was mine detecting. We had putting the mines in and taking the mines out, and that was the old Polish mine detector. Do you know it's a Polish mine detector? They're backing up and waving the detector. No?
No.
Come on. I have some Polish friends. They love that one.
There was a time we had a book in our house, the official Polish joke book, and then you would turn it upside down. It was and then it was the official Italian joke book, half and half. The Polish jokes were everywhere, but I was like, Italian jokes? What the hell? And I remember one of it was like, have you heard about? It was the same jokes interchangeably, but I look back now and I'm like, I didn't remember there being a run on Italians. The Polak thing, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And we all look back now and go, well, if we'd known the women were so beautiful, we wouldn't have been making fun of the people. But, the Italian thing, it was such a strange time to look back on the 70s.
This is America. Everybody gets their turn.
That's exactly right. I can remember very clearly the Polish-Italian joke book right next to a copy of Helter Skelter in the TV room. I'd pick up one, pick
a little
up the
light
other.
reading.
Pick up one, pick up the other. You have to change, cleanse the palate with one or the other. Here's another great one. A cop in Virginia has lost his job. What did he do? He got busted. He got online, met through a dating app a woman who goes by the name of Dream, and she'll come spend time with you for money. She's a prostitute.
I think it's called Roses.
He, through Apple Pay, sent her $100. She came over to his place. They have a date, as they call it. They're going to have a good time. They got together. They decided, hey, you know what? Let's take a shower before we do anything else. Let's get to know each other in the shower. Okay. So this officer, his name is Jaron Harry, he goes and gets in the shower. She says, I'll be right behind you.
No. Dude, come on. You're an officer. You're smarter than that, aren't you?
He spends a few minutes in the shower. Dream, are you there? Walks out. She's gone, along with his wallet.
Yeah.
His phone.
Yep.
His car keys. His police credentials.
Jeez.
And his car. She took it all and drove away. He had to go to his neighbors. He had to go to the neighbors, say, can I borrow your phone? And he had to call in his own. I've been robbed. I'm a police officer. I just got robbed. Cops chased her down pretty quickly. She's driving around in his car with another dude in the passenger seat.
Then a guy gets in. Oh, I see you stole a cop car there. I'm in. Let's go. That's one hell of an expensive shower there that he got.
It really is. And of course, a shower by himself, no different than any other shower he took that week. He was alone. She never got in with him. When she was arrested, Dream told the arresting officer, oh, no, he let me use his car. He said, take my car if you need it. But she had already, of course, used one of his credit cards. She's got a half dozen charges: grand larceny, fraud, prostitution. He's not being charged with anything yet, but he has been relieved of duty as a police officer.
What kind of society are we living in when you can't trust your hooker? Come on.
You know what? That's what happens when we criminalize sex work. I had to come up with something to say there.
And when it comes to getting in the shower, ladies first, always. Be a gentleman about it. Come on.
Be a gentleman, or at least be pragmatic. My God.
Moron.
Hey, Cokato, we want to say good morning to you, all of our listeners in Cokato. What's happening over there?
Watch your speed going through Cokato there on Highway 12. That's what I learned. Yeah, that's what I learned. Yeah.
All right. Back down, Cokato. You're going to get there in one piece. That's far more important. Hey, check this out. The 2025 Tee It Up Golf Card presented by Club Champion is on sale. You can pick one up, golf 6 area courses, and save nearly $200. It is a heck of a bargain. The Tee It Up Golf Card. If you text the keyword golf to 651-989-ROCK. You'll get information that makes it very easy to pick up your Tee It Up golf cart. Get on the stick. TSA, our dear friends at airports around the country. Let's discuss their year in review. 2024, the TSA's top catches. What is wrong with us? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Very glad to be with you. If you were traveling anywhere through MSP anytime in the last year, you, of course, went through the drill. You know, you get to TSA, you put all your stuff in the bins, you stand there, you take off your shoes, you remove your belt, you empty your pockets, and then you realize the guy in front of you doesn't know what he's doing, and you wait for him to get his belt off, and then he goes through, and then he goes, I didn't know I had to take my keys out of my pocket, and then you think, why am I always behind this guy?
Yeah.
It's always the guy with the big belt buckle who's like, what do you mean take off my belt? It's like, dude, listen, that's why the guy's yelling, take everything out of your pockets, remove laptops. I mean, it's amazing. I get behind two people always. One is the guy that's never been through TSA, and two is the person writing the check at the grocery store. I'm always, well, not always at the grocery store, but probably 3 times a year, but it feels like every time. You know, it's like, really? A checkbook at the grocery? Okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Then never know what day it is. They sit there and write and write and write and then look up and say, do you know what the date is? I'm like, that's the second thing you put on the frickin' check. Any date will do.
I'm still writing 23 on the check, and it's January of 25.
That's
it's because you write 4 checks a year, so you don't update it. Get with it. That's just me. But the TSA doing their job. Here's a list. The TSA, they catch all kinds of things. You know, they're doing their job. It's not like the movie. By the way, we haven't even mentioned this. Did either of you guys watch Carry On Netflix?
I did over the break. I really liked it.
I mean, it's the silliest, dumbest, worst, best movie in a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty terribly good.
Yeah, Evil Bateman is always worth watching. When Jason Bateman goes dark as a mastermind terrorist criminal.
Yeah, I know which movie you're talking about now, and that's when I jumped off. You know, the trailer comes up, you're cruising along, you stop on it, and then you're like, is Jason Bateman the bad guy? Moving along. I'm going to carry on with my day.
Yeah, there you go. It was pretty good. It was good to see Hank from Breaking Bad in a role. Haven't seen him. He's not missed a meal since Breaking Bad went off the air. I can tell you that. But hey, good to see him working again. Anyway, the TSA released their best catches of the year. Things that they found. Interesting things jump out of you. At Hobby Airport in Houston, they did pull out a handgun from a stroller. That's like the baby brought her gun to the airport. I'm sorry, I told her not to.
Just don't listen.
What the gun in the stroller? What's your excuse? Oh, I forgot I put it there. Why did you put a gun in the stroller? What neighborhood do you live in? I have a lot of questions about a gun in a stroller. It's kind of like McCartney getting busted for weed in Japan. They put the weed in his kid's hood of his coat.
Is that where it was?
Yeah.
All right. I'll never look there.
In the hood of the parka. Yeah. Really? A child with ounces of weed in their hood? Go figure. Miami International Airport, live snakes in pants. Come on, for God's sakes.
The old South Dakota tube snake.
Yeah, I guess that. Wow.
I've been busted once or twice.
What was the one? What was the one? What'd you have for dinner? Tube steak smothered in underwear. Let's see. If you said to me, Steve, where do you think they found meth hidden in a pair of crutches? My first answer would be probably New Hampshire. Yeah, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That's where they found meth inside crutches.
I did not realize New Hampshire was methy.
Oh, New Hampshire's meth. New Hampshire is everything. The first time I went to New Hampshire, I was like, oh my God, this is just Mississippi with a different accent.
Yeah, it's Mississippi with cold sores.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I said that. You know, the best way really to smuggle drugs onto a flight, I found, is in your bloodstream.
Yeah,
there you
absolutely.
Just get it in there. Just get it inside. Get a lot in there. You got a long flight. Just get a bunch going, you know, and then...
It's important to remember the flight's better if you're high, and there's more drugs where you're going, I promise.
Right, exactly.
You don't have to bring them with you.
Yeah, and no one's gonna take your blood there. You know, you might get a funny look or whatever, but yeah, then you're not gonna be paranoid about getting busted going through. I see a lot of people getting busted with vapes, going through with vapes.
Yeah, vape. Yeah, Chicago, there was a bust. Vape inside toothpaste. What?
Right. Yeah, it's because you put it in your toothpaste. If you just put it in your freaking carry-on bag, they would have went, yeah, it's a vape. You can't put them in your check bag because when you put your vape in your check bag, they can't go down below because it's considered a battery and caused a fire one time, so you can't do that. So you're best just to stick it in your pocket and then just throw it right there in the thing. Let them take a look at it because guess what? Vape's not illegal to take on planes.
Yeah, go figure. I like this one. Newport News, a knife inside a shoe. Okay, first things first. You remove your shoes and they go through the machine. Like, they pay attention to shoes. So much so that they make you take them off. Not a great place to hide something. Just going to say.
Pre-check. Yeah.
I mean, my God. Let's see what else we got. This is from El Paso. A replica IED walkie-talkie. What? Okay, IED is an improvised explosive device. That's like homemade bombs. Terrorist groups use these things. Criminals, suicide bombers, insurgents. When you see IED, you're normally talking about those kind of stories. And somebody had a walkie-talkie that looked like it was a replica, like a walkie-talkie set to be an explosive device. They just had that in their carry-on at the El Paso airport.
Well, let's be fair. I was coming back from Syria, and they don't have a lot of souvenirs over there,
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's just the replica IED walkie-talkie. That's all you've got. Okay, I'll take that and the shot glass.
My dad went to Syria, and all I got was this replica IED walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
So, it's just important. The things people try to get away with. Oh, my God. Did you guys see this? I gotta mention this. A United flight on Tuesday, that would be yesterday, left Chicago for Phoenix. And as it was taking off, like during rotation, like as the nose is coming up, it struck something on the runway. Everybody's okay. The plane got up in the air, turned around, landed safely. Everybody was put on a different aircraft, and then it took them to Phoenix. Everything's fine. But it struck something on the airport. And what it struck was apparently a coyote.
Oh, well, good riddance, I say.
Good riddance to the dumbest coyote ever. What kind of wild animal doesn't sense an airplane barreling down on his ass?
Well, he had tried to get a rocket from Acme mailed to him because he's that damn Roadrunner out there,
Okay.
but could not. It wasn't delivered in time. Apparently, his Amazon driver threw it into the trees. He was a little stressed out, and he thought, "I know what I'll do. I'll jump on this plane as it's taking off," and apparently it didn't work out for him.
That is
wily.
the most insane thing I've ever heard. That one coyote. And coyotes, there's always the lead coyote and then his friends wait in the trees. And they're probably, hey dude, go out there and run away. Go out there. Yeah, I think I saw a rabbit.
No,
you
can
saw
make
a
it.
rabbit? No, I saw a rabbit between. Okay, stay here. And the other coyotes are like off to the side going, he is such an idiot. Oh my God.
When they got back to Coyote Town, where's your brother?
God.
Where's your brother? We haven't seen him all day. I don't know where he's at.
You didn't send him on the runway again. Yeah, it was flight 1727. Yeah, it was right as rain. That thing went right down on top of his ass.
I'm surprised a big plane could even feel a coyote when it hit it, but
Yeah, that's my first thought.
They said there was a little bit of damage to the landing gear. Like it said to the nose and landing gear. So maybe,
wow.
I guess it got kicked up in the, I don't know. How do you, the nose? That's a weird one. That's a big coyote. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
And speaking of travel and TSA, by the way, here's another thing. This is interesting to me. An airport security expert in an interview said, here are some things that people do that gets them flagged by the TSA. Like things to think about. Like you see people get pulled out of line occasionally and you're like, I wonder what that guy did. Here's some of the things TSA's looking for. People in line who are yawning a lot.
Well, the hell, man? I'm just a little hungover. Really?
Well,
so yawning means when I'm nervous about smuggling something?
When people are really, really stressed, their body needs more oxygen. They yawn a lot. So maybe you're acting tired, but your body, your central nervous system is betraying your smuggling intentions.
Oh, I see. So if
what I'm
you've
saying?
got some drugs up your butt, it makes you yawn.
Pretty much. Depends
Okay.
on the drug, of course.
Yawning a lot. Okay.
If you're dressed wrong for the weather, like if you have way too many layers on in the summertime, they're just paying attention to these things. You could be trying to hide something in your clothes.
All right.
Is the thinking. But that's funny because I have seen forever. But it's in the other way. You see people going to the beach in the winter and they're dressed for the beach at the airport. They think it's fun. Younger people. I'm just going to wear shorts and a tank top. It's January, and I don't think they're up to anything. I don't think they're up to no good. I just think they're idiots. Another thing TSA's interested in, not making eye contact. Maybe you're trying to hide something, but on the other side, also if you're a little too chatty with the TSA agent.
That sounds like a date. It's stressful. So make eye contact, but don't be weird about it. Don't glare at them. Next time I go there, no, I'm not going to. You don't mess with the TSA, but don't you kind of want to just lay a big yawn and then just lock eyes with them?
Yeah. Lock eyes with them, except you do that thing where you look just beneath the eye, like at the cheek.
Yeah.
Hey, man, how's it going? But you're never making eye contact. The other one they look for is anybody with a lot of cologne or perfume on because they think, they may be trying to mask the smell of drugs.
Oh,
you guys
all
are
right.
giving. You guys, let me tell you something. At TSA, you're giving us way too much credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not. If I'm trying to run drugs, I got them buried up my six. I'm not pulling out the wind drift. I'm sorry, it just wouldn't occur to me. I'm not that smart.
There's enough odor coverage in the back door area anyway. Probably don't need to add some
That's what I'm saying.
Old English.
So don't wear too much cologne or perfume. Don't be too chatty. Don't make eye contact. Don't yawn, and wear an appropriate amount of clothes for the weather outside. It's simple. You're going to be fine. If you do all those things, then put whatever you want in your suitcase. They won't notice. They're not even. You know what? Those X-ray machines don't even work. They're just reading body language. Nope. We're just guessing. It's total guesswork.
Take that replica IED right through.
Exactly. Hey, 92KQRS would love to send you to see Metallica at Mile High Stadium in Denver this summer for the final night of their M72 No Repeat Weekend Tour. How about this? A shot to win Snake Pit tickets with a 360-degree view of the show for both nights in Denver, plus airfare and hotel for two. Text the national keyword REPEAT to 95819 for your chance to win. Repeat to 95819 for your chance to win. We've got the top 5 at 9 coming up.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
This time of year, because of what happened 2 years ago, I got to town early January 23, and one of the first things I did in town was 2 years ago, I went out to First Avenue, and I enjoyed the 16th annual Happy Birthday Janice, a tribute to the life and music of Janis Joplin. It was a ridiculously great show. And now I'm happy to say the 18th annual Happy Birthday Janice will be happening this Saturday, January the 18th. This time around, it is at where is it? I'm just lost it. It's at the
Fitzgerald Theater.
Thank you, the Fitzgerald Theater. That was the first thing I did, at KQ. You know, I'd been on the air it was the end of my second week, and we went out, and we got up on stage and introduced the show, if I remember.
Yeah.
I was already several hams or PBRs or whatever somebody was handing me deep by the time I got up there. I just remember standing on that stage yapping, going, what? I'm in Minnesota. Like, it just hit me like, holy crap, I'm at First Ave and I'm talking about Janis Joplin. What the hell just happened in my life? It was awesome. One of my favorite nights in town. So, yeah, check that out if you get a chance. All right, let's move on. It is time for your top 5 at 9. 5 stories that got our attention today. If you or someone you know is struggling with a little something they call sleep apnea, that's a sleep disorder. People in the middle of the night, they pop awake. Well, they don't really wake up, but their body is gasping for breath. It can really, really lead to a lot of other problems, physical ailments. Sleep apnea is not a joke. It could be all that fat in your tongue. That's right. Researchers are saying some people, they do have little fat deposits in their tongue, and a larger, fattier tongue can play a large part in your sleep apnea. Go figure.
What are you talking about, a fat tongue? I've got like a 6-pack abs on my tongue, I'm telling you.
You do?
Well, you've got the fat tongue, and that leads to sleep apnea and all sorts of health complications, but it can lead to a very happy partner.
It certainly can. No, Zep, your tongue is like, you do tongue-ups. You do push-ups with your tongue. It's amazing. I've never seen a stronger, leaner, more muscular tongue in my life.
Next time we're out in public together, probably maybe Craigan's will get together again this year. Come on up and count them off. Everybody has to take a drink for every push-up I can do with my tongue. It's very impressive.
No, screw waiting till Craigan's. We're going to be on a couple of boats this summer. I want to see that.
Oh, that's right.
I want to be on the water when you're doing your tongue-ups.
All right, sounds good. We'll do fat tongue. I didn't know you could get fat in your tongue. I didn't know. I just thought it was whatever the hell it's made out of, tissue. I didn't know there was fat that could be. Well, I guess fat can be anywhere.
I regret ever suggesting something called a tongue up. I'll never be able to get that image out of my mind now. Number 4 in your top 5 at 9. Hey, if you're thinking about getting hitched, why not Valentine's Day? I'll tell you why you should think about it, because at 10 district courts across the state, they'll marry you on Valentine's Day for free.
Yeah.
Including Hennepin County. They've been doing it since 2013. Ramsey and St. Louis counties joined in last year. Now there's 10 different district courts. If you want to get married at the courthouse Valentine's Day, you will still need a marriage license before the ceremony, and you have to book an appointment ahead of time, but it won't cost you a dime. Dads everywhere are celebrating this possibility.
And that's where you can get your divorce, in that same room. Just think, bring it back full circle. Good luck with this one. I do know a lot of couples now that are doing cheaper marriages, right? This one's a free one down at the courthouse. Not going to cost the family or yourselves $1 billion. And they take that money that they might otherwise spend on a wedding and go out and spend it on getting their lives started, perhaps a down payment on a house. But good luck trying to talk her into the courthouse for a free wedding. If you can pitch that one, you two have got a chance.
Hey, man, it's funny. When I was a kid growing up, I was always fascinated by the fact every time like a rock star got married, like the Beatles or the Stones, they were always just at the courthouse. It was like, man, that's the way to do it. You just show up, take a couple of pictures. You meet some guy, shake his hand. He says you're married. You get out of there. It's great.
How'd Rosemary feel about that?
Not so good. We went to the Virgin Islands and spent a fortune. Yeah, no, I didn't get that sentence out of my mouth before I was like, no. And by the way, we went to the Virgin Islands because I talked her down off going to Florence, Italy. I was like, I don't want to go to Italy. What the hell?
That's called compromise.
There you go.
Of course, she knew the whole time. She didn't want to go to Italy either. She was just trying to get to the Virgin Islands, and somehow, So put it this way: the ring was in my nose, being led by Farmer Rosemary from day one. Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. There's a landscaper in Kansas. He has a company called SB, the letters SB Mowing, and he posts videos on social media, has for years. He goes around to houses. He'll drive around his town, and he'll see a house where the yard is really unkept, looks overgrown, and he'll knock on the door and say, hey, it looks like you're having trouble keeping up with your yard work. I'll do it for free. And the people say, gosh, thanks. And then people like me watch these videos on a regular basis. I love watching he speeds them up. But you see him with his weed eater, the blower, the lawnmower, all the tools, and then what looks like a brazen, crazy Amazonian jungle turns into a beautiful yard, and it just makes me feel less stress in the world. Like it's like
your Zen
like
garden.
Yeah, well, it's like when you take the wet paper towel and clean the chalkboard off. It's a nice blank slate. Well, this guy's name is Spencer. He's been doing this for years. Recently, he posted a video on Friday, and he went to a woman's house, elderly woman. Her yard looked like an absolute jungle, and he said, hey, do you need some help? And she said, yeah, in fact, the city is threatening me that if I don't get this yard taken care of, they'll come and do it, and they'll charge me $240. He goes, hang on, let me take care of this. And then to his viewers, by the way, this video has over 83 million views in less than a week. He asked his viewers, he said, hey, I'm going to put a GoFundMe up to help this woman out. She's clearly could use the help. She's living alone on a shoestring budget. Then he went back to tell her about the fact that he started a GoFundMe and raised a couple of dollars for her. Listen to him telling her how much money she's about to get.
In about 24 hours, over 21,000 people have donated to it. We're going to be able to do a little bit more than just your driveway and your ramp here. You ready to hear how much?
Yeah.
All right, we raised $550,000 since yesterday.
I can't even cry. I can't even think. Oh, my God.
I know what she's thinking. Where the hell were you 20 years ago when I could have had some fun with this money? No,
exactly right.
I mean, that's an awesome 550 G's. Well, she'll be able to, cruise comfortably off into the sunset now. I think yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. That's like 26 bucks. He said 21,000 people. So the average person threw 26 bucks her way. That's really, really lovely gesture. Of course, now in the town he lives in Kansas, something tells me there's a whole lot of people who are not even looking at that lawnmower this summer. They're like, I'm just going to let this go, baby. Come on, Spencer. Come on, Spencer. Bring it by, baby.
And then I'm going to have a nice big sob story when he gets here.
That's exactly right. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. Here's a sob story that you could try. I was going to cut my grass, but I fell victim to an online romance scam. Like a woman in France, a 53-year-old French woman has come forward to talk about the fact that she has lost about $850,000 to what she thought was Brad Pitt. Hollywood icon Brad Pitt apparently slid into her DMs a couple years ago and said, hey, you look like my kind of gal. It was obviously a scammer, but she, through an online Instagram direct message relationship, thought she was getting herself involved with Brad Pitt. She says she was skeptical at first, but this scammer was sending her daily messages. He was writing poems, and then there were all these AI-generated photos and videos. In the videos, it looks and sounds kind of like Brad Pitt declaring his love for her. He actually proposed marriage, so she filed for and ultimately divorced her husband.
No.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah,
I mean, the husband,
exactly.
really.
No,
wow.
Good for him, no doubt. The settlement was about $800,000, and most of that slid over to Brad. He said, because of my pending divorce from Angelina Jolie, my accounts are frozen. I need some money. She did not think it was suspicious that he was asking for that money to be sent to a Turkish bank account.
She wasn't meant to have any money.
No, she wasn't.
Dimwit.
She did get suspicious when in the middle of all this, she saw photos in the tabloids of Brad with his real-life girlfriend and thought, wait a minute, what's he doing at these events in Hollywood with a woman? I'm here in France. We're supposed to be together. And, of course, if you're wondering, well, I mean, they never met in person, did they? Of course they didn't. That didn't matter. He sent poems on Instagram. Jeez.
Why can't I meet women like this? A lot of money, very, gullible.
How many people, whoever this scammer is, how many women did he send messages to? I'm going to guess thousands.
Yeah.
And then one day he's like, I think we got a bite. He sees that line going out and he's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, like I said, some people just weren't meant to have the money. I don't feel at all sorry for her. You're an idiot.
That's very true. You made it into your 50s. It's amazing she hasn't walked into an open manhole and just fallen into something.
That's next.
Absolutely next. Hey, good morning, Chanhassen. Happy to have you with us. Anybody listening in Chanhassen, wonderful part of the world. And so we just want to let you know we appreciate you being with us. I just saw the Chanhassen Brewing Company is closing Saturday, February 1st.
That's a bummer.
That's a real bummer. They made good beer. I've been there. It was excellent.
Yeah, it probably didn't have anything to do with that. It's that saturation thing, like when motorcycle mods came out, everybody was custom making their own motorcycles, literally one on every corner. And then the market peels it back and about half of them go away, but that's too bad. There's another brewery just down the road, I'm sure.
That's true. So you got till February 1st to go in there and apologize for not supporting them enough. You always see restaurants, they announce they're closing and then they're packed for a month, and the guys are like, really? Well, all we had to do was say we're closing? Thanks, guys. But they did make great beer. So cheers to everybody in Chanhassen. Number 1 in your top 5 at 9, science has finally weighed in to the great question of all time. Who's the greater band, the Beatles or the Stones? Science says The Beatles, just because they're more influential. And it's not really science. It's just some dude who went through almost 500 Wikipedia pages of the biggest rock performers he could think of, and he simply went through them all and tagged their influences. Who do they claim they're most influenced by? And as it's no surprise, the Beatles are the most mentioned band for being an influence on other giant bands. He thought it was going to be the Beatles or the Stones. It wasn't that. It's the Beatles followed by Led Zeppelin in the 2-hole, Rolling Stones third. And then U2, really? Bowie, I get. Bob Dylan, I get. Elton John, I get. Queen. Okay. And then the Chili Peppers end up there. Also a surprise.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a surprise, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Chili Peppers, you could throw Metallica in. You could throw a lot of bands in there. Nirvana, I suppose. Sure. Maybe before the Chili Peppers. But we're getting into an argument. And I'm guessing this guy spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on this and went to tell... Oh, that's right. He didn't have anyone to tell. Thank God we're here. Thank God there's the internet. He's like, anyone? No, you don't have any friends. That's why you had hundreds of hours of your life. But it's, you know what? Put this list together and you'll always get an argument. That's what I like about it. You'll always sit there with a beer at your favorite dive bar going, no. It's the Stones, and this is why they've been together longer, you know.
Something tells me that guy's basement needs a dehumidifier.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.